Keep your head up to the sky. I don't wanna see you cry. Keep me close and don't you hide. Do you feel me?
What's up? I'm Kixie Jixie on social media. I am a sneaker culturalist, historian, collector, influencer, mother influencer, however you want to call it. I'm here with Varsity, and he has a really great project coming out, which is, it prompted us to want to get together, and I just want to know more about it. He's from my neighborhood. We're both from Bushwick, Brooklyn, and we came up in a really dope era in sneakers. So this is my privilege to introduce him to so many different audiences and talk about this amazing project. Wait until you see what's going on. So P, introduce yourself.
What's going on? Talent over hype, gotta be precise. Your boy Varsity P in the building, live in Bushwick, Brooklyn, Knickerbocker Avenue, as it gotta be. And you know, we gotta get into a little bit of sneaker stories on Saturday. So I'm happy to be here with Jixie Kixie. She gets it. Oh man, if you look at what's on her feet right now, we'll make sure we get some B-roll of that. And we really here to have a good conversation. I got something real fire dropping real soon. I want to make sure we give y'all a little bit of context around it. You feel me?
So first let's start off with you. How did you get into sneakers? You know, what made you love sneakers? Take us a little bit back to like that first time period, that feeling of when you first was just loving kicks.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. I thought about this Jordan 2 sneaker story, but I said, you know what would even be better than that is that I remember being in single digits, convincing my older brother to buy the $80 pair of sneakers so my mother could have the extra $30 or $40 to add to my money so I could get the Jordans and get the hyper pairs of kicks. So I don't know, I feel like I've always been fascinated with certain silhouettes and certain sneakers that just kind of had a vibe to it, to the point where I would literally be talking to my older brother, nah bro, get the Bo Jacksons, get those 89, get those, because my sneakers was 119, 125.
Did y'all wear the same size?
No.
No?
He was my older brother, and he was a bigger side of me.
Got you.
So,
and
my dedication started there.
For me, being raised in Brooklyn, especially Bushwick, it was like, it was part of our culture. Like, we sat on the stoop and we used to talk kicks, and you know, we used to come to Knickerbocker together and just go look at sneakers and shop. So I feel like it's always been a part of our dynamic from where we're from, our culture. So take us back to like shopping for sneakers. Like, what was your experience like during those times?
Man, so let's say, you know, if that's my earliest sneaker stories being in the store with my mom, obviously the money comes from somewhere before summer youth jobs hit at 15, 16, that changes your life. You know, shopping was always a tug of war with my mother and my father, who didn't live together, who had their own ideas of how much money should be spent for sneakers. And I want Jordans, I want certain things that cost $120, $130. And it was literally just understanding that me within my own journey was trying to have and convince my mom to get a pair of sneakers before we left the sneaker store. And I remember I was like 11 years old, 12 years old, these patent leather Jordans, the Bread 11s, the classic, you know, was out. And
what's now iconic.
Oh man, and it was a store that didn't have my size, but there was like in a little mall strip, and another store did. I was like, could you call them? And my mother was like, boy, if we leave this store and you don't got a pair of sneakers out of all these sneakers on this wall, you're not getting nothing. I was like,
yo,
cool.
That's a fact. So I remember like when that scenario would happen, like if I was shopping with my dad and he would be like, grab a pair of sneakers. If I didn't grab anything that was in that store, like, you're dead on it. You're not copying a sneaker later, you're not copying it tomorrow, you're not gonna go into another store. And back then, you know, we didn't have the web.
Yeah,
we didn't have, there wasn't a place for us to be able, like, I used to get the East Bay catalogs. Right?
Oh, what? Come on, you chatting right now.
And people would tell me, like, people tell me now, yo, how you know so much about like materials and sneakers? And it's like, yo, I was the girl that used to read everything under the East Bay, on East Bay, under the picture of the sneakers. So I would read the components of the sneaker, the zoom air, hidden zoom technology, hidden air technology. I would read all of that, and that's, I mean, that's
Slam magazine, Kicks magazine.
It's a big reason why now I think I know so much about sneakers, but that's the nostalgia that I mean, this generation will never understand what it is to truly be inspired by your own style, right? To truly be inspired by what you see around you, as opposed to what they're selling you online or what they're persuading you to buy online. Like we had spoke about earlier, right? Like, what are those?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are those back in the day was
You got
different.
those early, like where those came from, how did you get them and where they at?
Right.
And now
And now what are those is like, it means something bad, right? It means like you're wearing something that's whack. So it's like the meaning of it changed so much. And
I mean, it's the cultural identity. It's the fact that, you know, we're from an era where you got your sneakers dirty. You were proud to make sure you got them 2 weeks, a month early, paid $350, $400 just to pull up on the block like, yeah, we got those. And they were like, oh, where you got those from? And
most people don't understand that that was a thing, right?
Yeah.
To come up early, like early was, it was important
That
to
was
be
the
first
juice.
on the block.
That was the
It was
juice.
important to be first in the street. That was something that you needed in order to be like recognized, to make a statement that you're about that life.
Facts.
And I think, like, what do you think your sneaker style specifically states about you? What do you think it says about you?
I mean, classic. You know, I'm an OG color wearer. You know, I got the penny ones, 1 cent on right now, or the penny foam ones rather. One moment in time, I left Kicks alone, and then I got back to them. And it's always just been original colorways. Like if it's certain things that I missed when I was young, I'll get those.
So your style is classic.
Yeah, I'm
you think
classic.
that
I'm
is what
vintage,
says
OG,
about you?
Yeah. I'm not doing multicolors. I'm not doing this color this way or that color that way.
Are you into runners?
Not really.
No,
Not
so that's a
really.
true classics person.
not
So
really.
that's amazing because, I mean, nowadays, what do you feel about basketball sneakers now versus back in the day?
They're not fashionable. Now they're way more athletic. And I'm okay with that because remember, we used to have to balance your basketball sneakers and your fly sneakers.
That makes sense.
You know,
so,
now they're
because
way
now
more
it's for performance.
for performance based.
Right. So
it's
the
not really-
lifestyle of it is not there
there's
like
no swag.
before.
No drip on them.
Got you.
I mean, outside of a certain pairs of LeBrons, I mean, there's some guys who put out some really dope silhouettes that you could be ill on a court with, but still look fly off court. But you know, we would wear basketball sneakers to not play ball in. To have a pair of basketball sneakers around our necks with our fly sneakers on.
True.
To take them off on a court and then put the ball kicks on.
Yeah, just like, you know, the culture of something that I did recently that I haven't done in years is I bought a pair of sneakers in the store because I got caught out there on vacation with sneakers that were uncomfortable.
Wow.
And they were expensive. So I walked into a store to go cop a pair and I put them on in the store and walked out the store in them.
I missed that moment. I missed that feeling.
I can't explain to you what that felt
eBay,
like.
Amazon, StockX, Grailed.
I remember that feeling of back in the day, like when you would go buy a fresh pair of sneakers and just walk out the store with them because you're going somewhere. And sometimes I would leave the old sneakers in the store.
Here's what happened is this. Somewhere it became not cool to leave the store rocking the sneakers that you just brought. Dude, I used to be fly. Like you would go put the fit on. You know what I mean? Whatever sneakers you had on that was raggedy, you wore them and walked to the store, left them in a box. That was fly.
I think for us it was a status symbol. Like, yo, I'm walking out the store with a fresh pair, so you know what? I got money. You know what I'm saying? My bread is...
I left those back there.
My bread is fly.
Exactly.
So I'm fly, my bread is fly. And sneakers for me has always been the statement piece, right? So it's like me growing up here, you know, I always wanted to, first of all, I just always loved the aesthetic. You know, I used to look, I was very heavily influenced by the D-boys in the street and how fresh and fly their feet used to be on a Friday and Saturday night. I always just appreciate it, just coming outside and I was just size dudes up and look at their feet up and down and be like, you in those, okay, heard you. But I knew where they got it from because at the time they didn't have sneakers everywhere like they do today. So it's like places like Knickerbocker here in Bushwick. These are one of the most organic places that the culture grew from, right? So you used to have like the old Asian owners that used to own like one of the spots here, and it was like, that was the reputation, right? The Asians had sneakers on lock. So, you know, we used to have the old mom and pop shops were run by like Asians, you know, Jewish, and it brings me to this conversation of just like, cultural, right? Like everybody had something to do with the rise of the sneaker culture, like all races, all
Everybody
religions.
had their hands involved.
But it all came from one place, right? Hoods.
Yeah, it starts and it ends in a hood. You know, like if we go on to Ralphie's to go to the basement to see what he got down in the stock room, or we on Nostrand Ave going to one of those spots, or going downtown Brooklyn. What was cool about Bushwick was we were familiar faces. You know, Blue City knew us, VMs knew us, like, because this is the quickest place for us to be accessible to new areas and new kicks. So the identity that we built was way before waiting in line.
Right.
It was almost like you could call a store, they hold your pen for you. I remember that.
That's right.
Hold it. I'ma be there. I'ma be there.
We was like, yo, I'm putting that 12 on layaway. Next week, I'm gonna get the 13, and I'm gonna take it out. And they used to sit on the shelves.
It was cultural currency and identity, and if you went there frequently and shopped there, they had you. Like, I remember I'ma be there before and they would literally let my kicks rock, and I'll go pick them up. Try to do that now. You need a ticket, you need a raffle, you need a bunch of different things. It's trash.
It's amazing because I always feel like if I'm a frequent shopper somewhere, you should take care of me.
Yes.
Right? And I grew up with that mentality because that's what used to happen. You shop somewhere, they took care of you.
Facts.
And you were the first one to get any exclusive product. You were the first one to know when something's coming.
It was a loyalist.
You were the first one to know, like, when it's coming through, so that you can be early, because that was something that meant a lot to us at that time.
And I think that's Bushwick, you know, because we the unsung heroes in Brooklyn. You get the Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, all those other places got so much rah-rah behind them, but us being unsung heroes meant that we were able to create organic relationships that were nurtured by us, because we weren't the hood that everybody wanted to come to. So,
but ironically, it was, right? Because
I mean,
you know, people don't know, like, even before it became new gentrified Bushwick, right? Back in the day, you used to have every single rapper. I remember Prodigy and Havoc on Saddam. I remember seeing Wu-Tang on Saddam. Like, I remember everybody going to Hancock to cop, you know, weed, and it was just like,
Whitfield, the weed
fabulous.
game.
Like, all the people that I have seen, like, come to Bushwick and just
but that's
be part
not
of
the
Bushwick.
hype, though.
No, you know what it is?
know?
It wasn't glorified.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So people wasn't rhyming about Bushwick.
Facts.
People wasn't putting us on a map. Like today, modern Bushwick, you know, you got the Telfar bags, Bushwick Birkin, in vogue. And it's just like, you know what, I believe the creativity has always been here. Between Duck Down, you know, we got Duck Down in
Bushwickville, we got, you know, it's always been.
I mean, Eddie Murphy was born in Bushwick. Like, let's be real. Eddie Murphy comes from straight up Borinquen Bushwick houses. Like, you know, so it's like, one thing that I loved about like being raised in this community is like, people don't understand. They'd be like, you know what? Sneakers is very much like other places outside of New York. They see sneakers, they don't understand how we grew up with sneakers.
Yeah.
In a community like this was a pure Puerto Rican and black community.
Facts.
Like, it was directly mixed. And in that come up, we all celebrated hip hop, we all celebrated fashion, we all celebrated sneakers. So it was like, there's so much that we celebrated together in Bushwick, and we were such a diverse community. And these are one of the small areas, just like many other areas in New York, where it's just like very organic to certain, like, I remember 95s being big here because I went to high school in the city. 95s were big in Brooklyn, but they were not big in some parts of Manhattan, right? Because they were on uptowns, they were on different kicks. So it's also locality.
Yeah, location speaks a lot, because 95s, like Air Force lows, there's certain things that Brooklyn has always been ill for. Like maybe uptown wears the mids and the highs, but Brooklyn always wore the lows. You feel me? Like we were.
Well, you know what I remember? I remember Brooklyn used to wear a lot of Air Force 2s with the straps that were hanging. Like Bushwick used to be heavy on Air Force 2s, even Air Force 3s. Not so much the Air Force 1s. I think we got on Air Force 1s a little bit later than everybody else, because I think Jay-Z really put that more in the map for Brooklyn.
I don't know, because I remember in the early mid-90s, we was rocking the mids with the gel bubble.
Well,
with the
mids,
gel bubble, the gel checks. I remember us hacking for them with the gel, the
all white lows.
Yeah.
All white
we
lows.
was mixing
They
them
got
up.
the name Uptown because Uptown was, they were heavy on those. Like there was no compromising. Like that was their uniform. So those are like very much embedded into their location history. So I'm really excited for you, because I've seen it. So I'm really excited for you to present your next project out with the world, because you featured a pair of sneakers
Yes.
that has not been retroed or seen by the world in what, over 20 years?
Over 20. Yeah.
So I think it's like so important to talk about it. So tell us a little bit about this project dropping June 4th.
Man, so June 4th, I'm dropping a project called World Peace, and it's specifically Nike, what happened to World Peace, and it centers these shoes. These are Muse. These are the Nike Air Raid 2 93 World Peace Urban Jungle shoes, and these were released to combat, believe it or not, in the early 90s, there were a lot of kids getting shot for Jordan. So all those conversations we had about sneakers. So in 92, so much that was going on within the community around violence. Nike linked with Spike Lee and started this Live Together, Play Together campaign. And it featured a bunch of commercials with athletes coming together, smack talking, but then being able to resolve their issues to live together, play together. And it was as a campaign to try to get the kids in the communities to stop shooting one another over Jordans.
So one thing that I love about World Peace right now is the fact that the message is so needed, right?
Yeah.
Not only domestically, but internationally. And sneakers is such a vehicle. I think sneakers can change the world. I mean, it's brought so many people together. So I think it's amazing. What was the idea? What's the passion? What's the drive for this project?
Man, well, there's so much going on in the world. You know, there's so much going on social media, on these apps. So many things that are divisive that I feel like people get caught up in. Expounding upon their differences, then understanding that these differences are the unique aspects that we can bring together in order to make a one world community.
So in talking about this project and, you know, what was your passion and what was your drive for putting together this piece, and did the sneakers inspire it, or was the idea there first and then you used the sneakers as like a muse?
The idea spawned first. You know, I tapped into really just my spiritual alignment, and you know, when you really just start to remove things in history and these divisions, it really just becomes about humanity versus evil, good versus evil. So, you know, these sneakers have been sitting in my home, and I kind of was starting to do different displays in my crib, artistically pulling certain things out my closet when I was like pulling all these ideas spiritually, and I sent it on these kicks, and it was just like, wait, world peace, this is the unification, this is our people, this is the culture of black people, of brown people, this is the template of what I remember being pushed to speak, live together, play together. So that theme literally just became a muse that I exemplified through the shoes.
And it's fire because these are like such rare pieces.
Yes.
You cannot find them. They never retroed again. And then I believe in the video you actually had the fit on that went with this.
Yes.
So I mean, to me that's always like, those pieces are rarer than the sneakers. So it's like, how did you come across like the whole fit? Like, did you have to look for
Well,
it?
it was getting online. You know, I was frustrated with the fact that this original colorway has never been re-released. That's why you see this is a 28-year-old pair and they falling apart.
Have you found the same messaging in any other sneakers recently?
No, none of the re-releases have live together, play together on the back.
Or anything like it?
No.
Do you find anything
No.
that's...
I
So
feel
would
like
you
it's
say
missing.
that this messaging for domestic unity, domestic peace, should it come from the sneaker brands? Should it come from brands in
I
general?
mean, I would say international. Like, I just saw a commercial from Nike that was about women in sports who are pregnant. Like, that's an international message. You know, when I was digging into my research, I remember the Bo Jackson commercials where it was Bo knows best, and he's wearing multiple outfits. The Tiger Woods commercial where he's juggling, you know, the golf ball on a golf club. I remember going through so many commercials, seeing, you know, Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras commercials about tennis. Like, Nike has always been international with their voice. So World Peace and this whole concept was not a local thing. This is the world, the diaspora of us.
And where do sneakers fit in the visuals for musicians, for artists? What's the place of sneakers modern day, especially for you? Like,
sneakers is a talking piece. Sneakers is the foundation. Everything is bottom up. Like, you know, our consciousness is top down, but our look, our appeal, everything has to be grounded in what you got on your feet. So if you're walking around with some shoes that represent unity, you got to be able to live that. No different if we walked around with sneakers that represented money and success because they cost $300 or $200. You know, something like this represents the unification of people. So you gotta walk and rep that when you put these on. You know, that's why I use them.
how do you think this project can help people in our age demographic and people who just like sneakers understand the world better?
I think that it represents one of the missing pieces when it comes to the cultural value that sneakers has. You know, when we look at sneaker branding and sneaker marketing, it's to sell a lifestyle, it's to sell an image, it's to sell a persona and a feeling. So if this is a pair of shoes that's been missing for 20 years, and we see so much division and so much chaos, what's happening in Palestine, or what's happening in Chicago with the gang culture, what's happening in Brooklyn with the gang culture, it's what are we missing within the uniform of personas that needs to spread more love than anything? So I'm advocating for this, you know.
And what is the final message that, after this piece, what's the message that this piece is going to put out to the world about you?
Oh man, I would say, like my shirt says, Deion dancing the world peace. You know, so anybody who knows Deion Sanders, flamboyant, fly, flashy, you know, so it's to keep your cool, keep your style, keep your drip, but put it to a destination, put it to a purpose. So my purpose is the unification of our people. My purpose is humanity versus evil. So if you get anything from my cultural art, whether it's music or outside, it's, yeah, I mean,
and I applaud you for that, because I think like sneakers is a vehicle to so much.
Yes.
Like if you really think about it, like when there's a Yeezy drop, you know, people have shut down the internet, you know, so it's like sneaker culture shuts down the world, you know, they shut down digital world. So it's like if we unify together in real life for a cause, can you imagine what we can do?
Oh man, I mean, that's the goal. That's why I made this piece, to really just to pull on the heartstrings and say, hey, it's not an anti-Nike thing. It's, hey, can we all get along? Hey, can we do more to get more?
Can we get more messaging in our product?
Can we get more value?
Support our causes.
And not individual based on this or that person or this situation.
Well, I have to say, like, this project looks dope. I've seen it. I'm team early on it. So it's like, I just think that like the visuals and centering around the sneaker was just so powerful. And I think the whole fit. And I think it's something that even now in music, I think artists don't take into consideration the power of seeing visual of drip sneakers that has not been seen, right? And we've seen that many times in hip hop history, where artists become known for a style, artists become known for their sneakers. So what is the statement that this project is going to make? What's the legacy that this is going to live? Because this is not something that somebody could replicate.
I would say with me, it's humanity versus evil. You know, I would say taking a stance to stop allowing us to be divided by our differences, and say our differences can be commonalities to make us be more united, because we bring different things to the table. So when I think about world peace, when I think about unity and the unification of the diaspora in general, I think about all people knowing that, you know, we've been led astray to think that because we have differences, that means that we can't get along. And, you know, my piece in it is, hey, you know, every superhero has a uniform, so, you know, this is a collection piece of it. What I put together in the music video was another one.
And what is he in this t-shirt?
And in it, he's rocking the World Peace, the Urban Jungle official outfit from
Was he on his way to a game?
He's hopping off of a chopper. It's Deion Sanders, super fly, super with it. So this is it's literally pulling an inspirational style, swag. So he got the Louis pouch with him. So we still pushing fly, but we making sure
and
that's
early 90s. So that's early 90s, please. So that's when it was really dope.
So it's power. You know, it's for a purpose.
Where can everyone find you? Where's everybody finding you these days?
Talent Over Hype, everything. TalentOverHype.com, Instagram Talent Over Hype, Fanbase Talent Over Hype, Twitter Talent Over Hype. That's me. Hashtag Talent Over Hype, and you'll see me.
Hashtag Talent Over Hype. And I think that can be translated in the sneaker community as well, right?
Less
so it's
hype,
like
more talent.
Less hype, more talent.
Put that fit together and stop keeping them in a... Y'all be keeping them in a closet because y'all want to get clowned because y'all know how to dress. That's what I'm starting to think. Now play. I mean, it's bringing back that cultural identity of really getting fly with our fits, man, and really making sure that these specific kicks, Nike, please bring those back. We need those back out here.
Yo, he's advocating for it, and his project is fierce. So yo, we out.
Out of here.